And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service on this Friday, February 23rd, 2024. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of what I give you in this YouTube broadcast, you can go to weather.gov. It'll bring you to a map of the continental U.S. with Alaska and Hawaii to the lower left and then the tabs along the bottom for any of the territories. And I like to check this map each day to just kind of give people who have friends and family in other parts of the nation an idea of what may be going on, as well as if you maybe have some travel plans. The most notable weather this weekend, and it'll actually extend into early next week, is for winter storm watch here in the northern Rockies, along with high wind watches and high wind warnings. Active weather will be confined here to the northwest quadrant of the lower 48. Here in Alaska, though, we're going to start to see a pattern shift later this weekend and especially through next week. Still, though, areas of blowing snow. Temperatures have been quite cold up along the Arctic coast. Morning lows have been in the 15 to 20 below range just for the last several days. And Point Lake continues to have blowing and drifting snow. Point Hope is also down that way. The advisory is in effect for blowing snow. Accumulating snow will once again return to Anchorage on Saturday, as well as along areas of the Seward Highway. Some of the heaviest snow will once again fall in the hills of Anchorage on over toward the hills there up around Eagle River. 6 to as much as 10 inches of snow could fall in that time frame. And then a winter weather advisory for areas of the central and southern panhandle. That would include Petersburg, Wrangell, down through Klawock and Craig. 2 to 5 inches of snow is possible there from late Saturday afternoon through early Sunday morning. And then another area of low pressure is going to work its way across the Aleutians into the lower Bering and then work its way eastward into the Gulf and strengthen here early next week. The north winds on the backside of that Gulf low is going to draw down some much colder temperatures next week across much of the state. A number of areas could see low temperatures returning back down in the 20s and 30s below for overnight lows. Point Lay this Friday early afternoon, blowing snow, temperature at 9 below. Areas along the northwest Arctic coast were as cold as 15, 20 below this morning. In the east central interior, central reports mostly sunny skies, 27, but some of these areas like the Yukon Flats and stuff that are normally quite cold can likely get low temperatures back down in the 30s below here with this reinforcing shot of Arctic air that's going to be arriving, especially the middle and latter part of next week. Seward is enjoying mostly sunny skies early this Friday afternoon, but clouds will be increasing. A little area of low pressure is going to ride up through the western Gulf and hug along the Kenai coastline. That's going to bring more snow. Seward could pick up 2 to 5 inches of snow going up there toward Moose Pass and Turnagain Arm. Could get a little bit more there. And then again, the Anchorage Bowl area, especially along Hillside to Eagle River, getting some heavier snow here during the day on Saturday. Petersburg's reporting some sprinkles and flurries, overcast skies, 37 early this Friday afternoon. And we expect some steadier snow to move into there later Saturday afternoon through Saturday night, early Sunday morning, maybe 2 to 5 inches of snow in that area. And if you're a sky watcher, and you've noted here the past couple of nights, the approaching full moon, the full moon of February is referred to as the snow moon, and that'll occur just after 3:30 a.m. local time, and certainly some areas are going to be picking up some more snow. So current advisories, winter weather advisory for blowing snow up here along the Arctic coast, Point Lay down to Point Hope. We have winter weather advisory for Saturday into early Saturday evening for the Anchorage Bowl, especially Hillside and around Eagle River, where as much as 6 to 10 inches of snow could fall, generally 2 to 5 likely, as well as down long areas of the Seward Highway to Cooper Landing and maybe even around Seward itself. And then another push of moisture is also, there's that low that rides up along the Kenai Peninsula. There's going to be a secondary little wave of low pressure that works its way into the panhandle by Saturday night. And as that happens, that's going to bring another push of accumulating snow there from Petersburg, Wrangell, down through Prince of Wales Island, including Klawock and Craig, where maybe 2 to 5 inches of snow could fall in those areas. Looking at the satellite imagery, of note, we have the flow just from southwest to northeast. There's a boundary along here, and this is a little weak area. Wave of low pressure is going to work up along the Kenai coastline tonight and Saturday. We have weak low out here, northern Bering near the Bering Strait just south of there. Another low, couple little low circulations in the Bering, and high pressure up in the Arctic Ocean. And what's going to happen though as we go through time, little healthier low is going to lift out of the North Pacific across the Aleutians into the southern Bering, and then that's going to take an eastward track into the Gulf and strengthen early next week. And it's on the backside of this low that draws down more Arctic air that's sitting up there far to the north, and that's going to overspread the mainland next week, bringing back some below to much below normal temperatures here into next weekend. So looking at the current weather map this Friday afternoon, here's that weak little wave of low pressure that's going to lift northeastward tonight in through the western Gulf along the Kenai coast. Kind of a stalled out frontal boundary in the interior, weak low south of the Bering Strait, another low back out there further west. Come late tonight, early Saturday morning, we have that one low just kind of developing and sitting here in the northwestern Gulf, and secondary low that will take shape, and that's the one that's, so this low here is going to bring the snow to Anchorage and down through Seward. This low is going to bring the batch of snow into the central southern parts of the Panhandle, and this low out here in the western Seward Peninsula will weaken, but it's this trough line that keeps the stronger winds along the northwest Arctic coast there, Point Lay down to Point Hope tonight through later Saturday night. And then during the day Saturday, we have that low sitting in the northwest corner of the Gulf. That's what's going to keep the snow, get the snow going there, Anchorage down in the eastern Kenai Peninsula. Also, this low pushes in with this little warm front will enhance some of the lift and create areas of accumulating snow, southern southwest part of the Panhandle. And then there's the hint. That's the pattern changing low. That low is going to be coming up across the central Aleutians on Sunday. It's not especially deep, but it's part of the beginnings to a change of a pattern. The other lows have kind of worked inland and it'll begin to wash out Sunday afternoon, but this low will be taking a track across the southern Bering, Alaska Peninsula, and then into the Gulf early next week. And it's the circulation around this low that's going to draw down some much colder Arctic air in the far north that's going to overspread the mainland next week, bringing a return of below to much below normal temperatures. So Saturday morning lows still generally above freezing for the outer southern western part of the Panhandle. A little below freezing, say around Petersburg, and certainly below freezing further north toward Juneau and Skagway. 10 below there within the Copper River Basin, because it's going to take a while for some cloud cover to work further northward. As we go through the day Saturday, temperatures still a bit above 40 in the outer coast, but it's going to be a wet snow that develops in through this area here Saturday afternoon and evening. And it may be mixed with some rain as well. But here, the low that's sitting along the Kenai coast, the corner here of Prince William Sound, that it's cold enough that especially toward the Anchorage Bowl and anywhere along the hillside areas there or Turnagain Pass, it'll be some moderate to locally heavy snow during the day on Saturday before it begins to taper off Saturday evening. And temperatures again Sunday morning could be below zero in the Copper River Basin, turning cooler with more of a northerly flow on the backside of that low. 14 in Anchorage, and then back here across the Panhandle, temperatures below freezing. We expect Sunday morning lows mid-20s to lower 30s, and then afternoon highs could get a bit above freezing, mid-upper 30s across the southern Panhandle, staying a few degrees below freezing in the north, and again cooler across interior south central, mid-20s for highs around Anchorage, Talkeetna. And looking at the far north, this is where some of the coldest temperatures have been all week long and will continue to be so this weekend. 20s below along areas of the Arctic coast with wind. So the wind chills will have definitely a significant bite to them. And as we get into high temperatures, Saturday afternoon, we're looking at single digits, Yukon flats above or below zero, teens, upper Yukon Valley, around 20 as you get down through the lower Yukon basin. And then temperatures increasingly colder. Sunday morning lows 32 below around Dead Horse, Prudhoe Bay. 20s below showing up in the Yukon Flats, Arctic Village. And then Sunday afternoon highs start to stay below zero again in these areas, in the teens, even some 20s, lower 20s below here in the North Slope. We got single-digit highs here, the Seward Peninsula, near zero there at Wales. So there's cold air, and that's just the beginning, because the coldest air is not going to arrive until we get into the middle and latter part of next week. Interior Southwest, generally teens. A few areas could be single digits. Generally lows just below freezing along the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians. Saturday afternoon, we expect temperatures still could break 20 in the southwest interior. Up near freezing as you get down along the Alaska Peninsula, or a bit better from Chiknik down through mid-30s there as you tail out through the eastern and central Aleutians. And then Sunday morning, with some clearing, we could see lows in the single digits below zero as you go up the Yukon and Kuskokwim River basins. Lows near freezing as you go along the middle and lower part of the Alaska Peninsula into the eastern Aleutians. But temperatures Sunday afternoon, we expect some single digits here along Norton Sound and at least creeping up the Yukon River. And teens in the southwest interior, inland from Kuskokwim and Bristol Bays. And then down here across the Alaska Peninsula, we could see temperatures as maybe as warm as 42 or 43 there at Dutch Harbor. But this is what tells us how things, I've been advertising this now for over a week, strong signature for below to much below normal temperatures to end February and start March across Alaska, everywhere. We're looking at below or much below normal temperatures come the period of February 29th through March 4th. That's centered right on south central Anchorage area, especially along and south of the Yukon River, and it also includes the Panhandle. And then as we go into the early March, March 2nd through the 8th, we find maybe some of the cold will at least relax a little bit, but still centered here over areas of the southwest and south central between Anchorage and Bethel. And then in that kind of pattern, it's generally a drier pattern, so it means cold nights below zero, drier northeast to north flow, below normal precipitation across the central western areas of the state, but could be a little above normal precipitation in the Panhandle, because you can still get weather systems that want to come in off the Gulf as you have that north flow there on the west side of the state. And the same thing as we get out toward March 2nd through the 8th. Pattern relaxes a bit, but we could see precipitation average a bit above normal across southeast mainland in through the Panhandle, but continue a bit below normal, a little drier there along the west side of the state.